It's the Guitar Dads. It's the Guitar Dads.
Welcome to the Guitar Dads Podcast, a podcast for guitar dads by guitar dads. This week, another band gets their chance. Pink Floyd reunites, kinda. And the guys debate whether or not the Grammys are more useless than the neck pickup on an Esquire. Has Matt been wrong all these years? This week on the Guitar Dad Podcast. Now, two dudes who are just happy to not be nominated for anything, Matt and Dave.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave, and welcome to the pod, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Or welcome for the first time if you're listening. We welcome aboard. We appreciate you checking us out.
Yes, very good point. Welcome aboard if this is your first time. If this is your first time, welcome. Thank you for listening. Tell all your friends. And yeah, Dave, give them the socials, man.
Yeah, just in case, if you are a Guitar Dads Podcast virgin, let me just tell you, you can find us on Instagram at Guitar Dads Pod. You can also you can join our new Facebook group at Guitar Dads Podcast. Just find us on Facebook somewhere. We're in there somewhere. And check us out on YouTube. We're posting clips on Instagram and YouTube all the time, and all that stuff. And yeah, once in a while we're occasionally on Twitter too. So at Guitar Dads Pod on Twitter. So make sure you check us out. And we got a lot of cool stuff that's up there right now on the tube and on Instagram. Particularly our chats with Henry James, the lead guitarist of Robert John and the Wreck that we did recently. And,
awesome
also
band.
Also, our chat with Ryan Burke of 60 Cycle Hum, which we had him on a couple weeks ago. That was fun, so you can check that out too.
60 Cycle Humcast. Yes,
Yeah.
Definitely go check out those pods. Those are some great episodes. And we got another great episode for them today, right, Dave?
Oh, that's today?
Like, that's now. Yeah, that's what we're doing now.
It's Friday night. I thought we were just going to kind of lay back, lay low, and relax and chat.
Yeah, I thought the same too. Yeah, well, I'm drinking my my Mexican mule here.
There you go.
Looks good. Yeah, cheers. Okay.
Cheers. There you go. I got my
Dave's drinking
bourbon
a
as
bourbon,
usual.
and we're
I've
ready
always
to-
got my bourbon.
Now that we're all kind of lubricated up, let's get going into the news and notes. News and notes.
Oh, there's the intro. Must be news and notes time.
Must be
Okay,
news and
did
notes
you
time.
hear? Did you hear? I know you heard this. I
Yeah.
ask you every week, and I know you heard.
Yeah.
So apparently, Mammoth Mammoth has had to cancel a couple dates. Actually, they had to cancel their dates of the rest of the tour.
Oh, they
with,
did.
Dirty Honey, because Wolf went to the Grammys, and then he came back, and I guess like a bunch of people on the band or the crew got COVID, so they had to cancel.
I know. What a
And
bummer.
so Dirty Honey's taking it to the next level, and they're bringing him. We're going to talk about some bands later on in the pod, but they're kind of keeping it together, and they're finishing the tour. So kudos to them.
Yeah, kudos to them. Dirty Honey has kind of loaded the bill up in the absence of Mammoth with all kinds of killer bands, which we'll preview at least one of the bands. And there's a couple of them that are playing with them that I've never heard of that I need to check out. But Dave actually checked out one of them, and one of them is very killer, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I mean, poor Wolf. Hopefully, Wolf didn't get COVID, but like a bunch of people in his band and crew did, I guess. So
yes,
so they had to put. I mean, this COVID thing, like this is just the way it's going to be. This is just the endemic state we're in with COVID. So that's life. That's life.
That's life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Moving on. Did you hear this? This is kind of a big deal, I think. Here in the U.S., Congress has been putting more pressure on Spotify, particularly for their discovery mode. So basically, the gripe here is the bands are only benefiting in discovery mode. So discovery mode only yields more if discovery mode yields more total streams for an artist across their entire catalog, and it's not just the track covered by the program, right? So basically, Spotify is kind of taking a lot off the top here and not giving the artists their money. If they So am I understanding this correctly? Like if a band puts out a song and it's on Spotify and you listen to it and it comes to you via discovery mode, via like the algorithm, or if you search for something else and then they recommended that. And am I totally understand? I'm not quite sure. Like,
I have
what
no
the whole
idea,
gripe
Dave.
here
Dave, this was your news
as
item.
I'm talking this out.
I
I'm
have
like,
no
wait a
idea
minute.
what discovery mode even is. I'm an Apple Music subscriber. I don't really use Spotify.
So I think that. So let me see if I can clarify. I think the problem here is the artist only benefits if discovery mode yields more streams for the artist across their entire catalog. Meaning, if Matt Tobin puts out a song, if Matt Tobin's got a song on Spotify,
yeah,
and I listen to it, but I don't listen to anything else in your catalog, then you lose out.
Oh.
Okay.
So what does that mean? That means
that
Spotify isn't paying the artist the same
they're
rate
not gonna
for
pay the
discovery
artist
mode?
the same rate. Yes.
Wow. So like that's really interesting.
Typical
So,
Friday night Dave trying to explain stuff after a little bit of bourbon.
or a lot of bourbon.
Or a lot of bourbon.
So Spotify is actually coming up with new ways to screw artists. This
Yes.
is really interesting. And U.S. Congress, good on that. I'm really surprised that our government is on top of this because, like, they don't seem to be on top of much.
No, they don't. But they seem to like be really against like the Spotify's and the Apple Musics of the world, and
That's great. Hey, you know what? Good for them. With all the problems in the world, they're focused on this. Kind of interesting. But you know what? Yeah, I mean, they should. I mean, look, Spotify. Will you just pay the artists what they're due? Dave and I have talked about this in the past about Spotify. I am totally comfortable paying a little bit more. We've said this about Apple Music, about Spotify,
Yes.
about all the other streaming services, how unbelievably cheap it is to have the kind of catalogs of music at our fingertips. It's like for the consumer, it's absolutely incredible. And it turns out if you don't turn around and pay the artists, it can be pretty profitable. Although, Spotify, it's not quite clear how much they're making, and it's a little bit unclear. But, in the end, there's a lot of money that's flying around on this stuff, right?
Yes.
And Spotify as a company is worth billions and billions of dollars. So it's kind of interesting, right? It's like, how much can the market kind of bear on these things? Can the market actually sustain people paying a little bit more, right? For things like Spotify, if that means
it's gonna get really interesting with inflation the way it is and everything else going on in the world. It's gonna get really interesting if companies like Spotify and the like start to kind of push rates a little bit higher, and let's see what the market bears, because right now there's a lot of other factors here,
Well,
whereas like 5 years ago, those factors weren't as much at play.
No, that's true. And if we're honest, I think the main argument that most people are making is Spotify should keep less of the money and give more to the artists. I think we all know like that's just not going to happen.
No,
like it's just not going to happen. But if there's some maybe there's a government regulation that comes out, maybe there's something that's only going to lead to higher prices for the consumers. But I've said it before, I'd be willing to pay a little bit more. How much would I be willing to pay? I mean, if we think about that, we pay $200 a month plus. I think what's the average cable bill and tag on all the streaming? People are paying
I think
like
you're right. It's around
$300 a month for all this
They
stuff.
are. And when I think about at least the stuff that I'm paying for in terms of my streaming outside of music, so I'm talking just like TV, right? I am not really taking advantage of maybe more than 10% of what's offered out there. However, when it comes to Spotify and Apple Music and these other music streaming services and podcast streaming services, I almost take, full advantage. I've listened to a ton of stuff. So, yeah, I'd be willing to pay a little bit more because I definitely benefit from the service.
Yeah, and I think music fans would, and I think the issue is would the average fan be willing to pay, $20, $30, $40, $50 a month for these services?
No, I don't think you're going to see it get that high either because of, I mean, maybe years from now, but I just don't think. I don't think that's what consumers are going to be. I mean, certainly if you get upwards of because what's Apple Music for an individual account is what, like $10?
It's like $10 a month. It's like ridiculous.
So Apple's never gonna. You're never gonna see that rate go up to like $50 a month.
No, you're right, because they would lose so many
unless they're
people.
offering something else. They're going to lose a ton of people unless they're offering something else along with that. Like maybe you start seeing like $30 a month. Unless you also have some of their other services or
bundles.
whatever else it
there's
is, they're bundles,
yeah.
and then we'll give you the discount on Apple Music.
Yeah. No, Dave, that makes a lot of sense. I think we're going to start to see that, but this is the thing, right? That's going to, we've set this precedent now for, years now of this is what it costs for these streaming services, and, you should just be entitled to all this entertainment and everything that it is, right? It's kind of interesting because when you think about the other streaming services, when you compare it to like a Netflix and these other things, these guys that are doing, these famous actors that are putting movies on Netflix, they're getting their paydays. Why aren't the artists on these streaming service getting their paydays?
They're totally getting their paydays, or at least as far as we know. I mean, I'm sure.
No, why would they do it, right? Yeah, like actors aren't getting screwed on like Netflix and streaming services. Why are the artists getting screwed on things like Spotify? Like what this model is just broken, and maybe it's going to change at some point, but I think this is the new world we're in, and it's really hard to raise prices. To your point, Dave, I mean, you can creep them up over time, but it's a tough go out there, especially with inflation the way it is, like you said. So anyway. Let's not get into the economics of it as much, but we do like to talk about the economics of it.
I'll tell you why I think why the artists are getting screwed is because it's just a carryover from the old record label model, right? Like the record labels totally cashed in on everything.
Oh, that's true.
Now back in those days, artists were making a lot more money on these record deals, but at the same time, they were just like these record labels owned these artists in so many different ways. So now you have artists who are a little bit freer. They can do whatever they want. However, the sacrifice there is that they're not going to make as much money, so they really have to push themselves. We talked about this so many times on the pod. They really have to push themselves out there and market themselves in very creative ways. And they can't just be like on Instagram promoting themselves. The game is gonna change even more in the coming years. You watch.
I think that's right. And it's just a new world for these artists out there, for people doing music and trying to make a living as an original artist. We've talked about this a lot, like you said. It's both good and bad. It's good that you can get your music out there. It's bad that it's harder to cash in on it. But there's ways to do it, and there's people that are doing it successfully without being on major labels and kind of giving everything away. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves. It's interesting that the government's getting involved in it, and we'll see how it evolves. But ongoing.
Ongoing.
Got to keep an eye on it.
TBD.
Speaking of keeping going.
Going, Pink Floyd has reunited. Now, hold on.
Not really.
Don't get too excited here. We're not talking the whole band. It's just, Dave and Nick Mason and their longtime bassist, Guy Pratt. And who's their dude on keyboards? And anyway, so they got together because, I think...
Just some dude on keyboards.
Just some dude on keyboards. So I guess the backstory here is that I think from what I understand, Dave Gilmour's daughter-in-law, or
is that right?
It's somebody in his family is Ukrainian, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that's what they did.
Anyway,
yeah, they put this.
That's what they did. So they basically put out this song with this Ukrainian singer. Basically to benefit the Ukraine right now, and all proceeds will go to benefit all the efforts over there. So I think it's great.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty cool when these like very kind of well off megastars use this stardom to do some good when we have these really horrible times in the world. So good on you, Gilmour. And hopefully people, if you haven't heard this and you want to check it out, go check it out. I think it's on like Pink Floyd's website or something, right, Dave? You can go check it out.
Yes, and I'm sure it's all over the internet. Yeah, just Google it.
Just Google it and you'll find it. But that is pretty cool. The other thing that happened, Dave, I think we should move this up to the news and notes. The other thing that happened is the Chili Peppers.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers. Wait a minute. Why are we talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers here?
So the Chili Peppers. So here's one thing. With the Foos kind of going on, going into their, taking some time off with the loss of Taylor Hawkins, the Chili's have kind of come swooped in and taken all their gigs. Especially at
Swooping right
festivals, festivals and stuff like that. And you think about it, like they're a great fit, right? They kind of have a similar type of a fandom.
Yeah, they're a great fit if you love terrible singing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here we go.
Hey,
but
here we go.
I think it was announced, Dave, that they're going to be at the Boston Calling festival when the Foos were supposed to be there, and they're doing that like across the country. They're just taking over for big. They're going to take over for like headlining shows where the Foos were supposed to be there. So
I'm so glad I didn't buy tickets to Boston Calling.
So the Chili Peppers appear. They are putting out new material soon. John Frusciante, we talked about this a while back. He joined the band.
Check out our meme. Hello Frush.
Hello Frush. That's right. He rejoined the Chili Peppers for the second time or third time or however many times. He has rejoined the Chili Peppers, and the Chili's are kind of on like a media tour again. And they went on Stern, and you can go watch this live performance of the Chili Peppers on Stern. And, the band's rocking, Flea's rocking. John Frusciante's guitar playing actually sounds good, Dave, I thought. And Will Ferrell, a.k.a. Chad Smith, sounds incredible. Like, the band's rocking.
Band sounds great.
And then Anthony Kiedis starts to sing, and it's like, what the hell? It's like...
Anthony Kiedis has never been able to and will never be able to actually sing, especially live.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Talk about studio magic with his voice.
I was just going to say.
That
defines studio magic.
But I think like the band is so badass it kind of transcends his vocals. And if you think about it, like on the albums his vocals aren't that bad. Like they definitely do some studio magic on the album, so it's do they
ever?
So it's listenable. But then if like you see these live performances and you're like, wow. Like I saw that like Stern posted it on Instagram like they usually do when they have these musical performances, and the comments are brutal. The comments are like, ooh, these vocals are bad, and people are like, oh man, they've lost it. They're getting skewered on Instagram. Yeah.
That's under the assumption that they actually had it. I mean, they did as a band. They are a great band from a musical standpoint. I do dig some of the music, but I cannot get behind the vocals. I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't do it.
Well, especially live. Like, go watch this performance on Stern. Like Anthony Kiedis, whatever his name is.
Kiedis.
It's really rough. Let's just put it that way. And I like the Peppers, and I like a lot of their songs. I love the Danny California album. I love Californication. Of course, the Under the Bridge era introduced us to them. I mean, that stuff's incredible, but it's like, oh my goodness, like these vocals are rough.
Dude, I don't think you're breaking any state secrets here. I mean, I don't think you're giving anything away now.
You say I'm not giving it away, give it away now. Yeah, I'm not giving anything away now. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, well, we wish that the Chili's luck on their upcoming headlining things, and we'll see what the new music sounds like, Dave. Maybe it'll surprise you and it'll be good. You never know.
Yeah, the music again. As long maybe it's just like as an instrumental kind of thing, I'd be fine with it. I mean,
yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But speaking of bands that are good, you want to talk about our band you should be listening to this week?
Oh yeah, I mean, as we talked at the top, with Wolf and the guys being off the rest of the Young Guns tour, Dirty Honey is taken over. I guess they're probably gonna. I'm assuming they'd just be like the only headliner, right? And then just these other supporting acts will be joining them. One of the acts supporting them, they're called the Naked Gypsy Queens, and they are out of I believe Nashville.
Nice.
And they just recently put out their first EP, Georgiana.
Oh.
And they are awesome. At least I think so.
This is so hot off the press that I haven't even listened to these guys yet.
This is very hot off the press. Well, because this is such new news. I mean, this just happened the other day.
It just happened the other day, and Dave pulled up a bunch of YouTube, and Dave was like, "This is incredible. You got to watch this." And I was like, "I'm asleep in bed right now." That's basically how it went down, right, Dave?
It was like
Dave's
9:30 at night.
yeah, well, I was
Usually
asleep.
the roles are reversed.
Well, I was asleep. What do you want me to wait? I was like going to bed.
But these guys are like, kind of like a cool mix of like the old school classic rock and blues, and a little bit of like a more of a modern twist on classic rock. They're really good, and the singer is crazy good, and they got a cool vibe. I guess you know what I would really kind of compare them to, and dare I say this,
Here we
is
go.
a little bit of Rival Sons.
Ooh, very cool.
Just a little bit.
All right.
Just a little bit. You know?
The Naked Gypsy Queens. Check them out, guys. You heard it here first. Or second. Maybe you already know this band.
Yes, maybe you guys know it. If you have, hey, comment below and let us know.
Let us know, yeah. But and the other band that has been on a couple of dates with them is a band that we shouted out a while back, Joyous Wolf. That's sharing the bill with Dirty Honey. You know, if you haven't checked out them, definitely check out them too. They're great. They got a great kind of dirty sound. They're awesome too. I think you guys would like them. It's Les Pauls and Marshalls, and the singer's great. They just wail. So they're definitely a band to check out if you haven't checked out Joyous Wolf yet, even though we have talked about them quite a bit on the pod. But yeah, and there was another one for you. We keep bringing it to you every week, peeps.
Every week,
Every
people.
week.
Did you check out the other band, Dorothy? I've heard of them before.
Yeah,
I
no,
never
I
really
didn't.
listened.
There's another. Yeah, there was another band on the bill called Dorothy.
They
and-
are another great band. I mean, seriously. I mean, listen, Dirty Honey is the official band of the Guitar Dads podcast for a reason here, folks. Because they know good music too. Not just them, but they know how to bring it on
It's
stage,
true.
but they also know how to bring it to you with other bands. So
They're a conduit.
Hey, you know, there you go.
They're a conduit for other awesome young rock bands, and there is
Yes.
no shortage of them out there. And these guys are, and we're bringing them to you every week. And rock is alive and well, and you know, hope is there for rock.
You know, yes. Well, you know where rock is not alive and well is the
This
Grammys.
is a good transition. I knew you're gonna go there.
You know.
Yeah. So
I'm just
rock is
hitting them
rock
out of
is.
the park tonight.
So this is the thing, though. So this is where Dave and I are not going to agree on this stuff. The rock is alive at the Grammys, and I'll give you some examples. One example is Her.
The only.
Her is an artist that we've talked about quite a bit.
Okay, yes.
So Her is awesome. She's not a rock artist herself. That's all. She's more of an R&B kind of artist. But she plays guitar, and she's got that killer Fender signature Strat, and her guitar playing is incredible. She's just worth checking out if you're a guitar fan. She's great. But she did a performance, and she did like one of her songs, and it was a medley into Lenny Kravitz's "Are You Gonna Go My Way?" And Lenny shows up. Lenny's there on stage. He's playing a flying V. They're doing "Are You Gonna Go My Way?" Her plays a guitar solo, and it's just rock and roll. And this is like... And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, this is like 20-year-old, almost 30-year-old rock and roll, you know, that's unfolding in front of us with a really new and current artist, you know, making it, you know, real and new again. And it was awesome to see that. I mean, granted, there wasn't a lot of that kind of rock and roll stuff that happened.
Well, that's
but
my
that
thing.
was cool.
Yeah,
That was
the
cool.
performance was... Yeah, the performance was great,
Yeah.
and it did remind me of the heyday.
Yeah.
But back in our day, like back in the 90s and early 2000s, like the Grammy, you saw performances like that all night long, you know, and there was a couple of then there was kind of smattering of like pop artists in there, but you saw these, you know, you saw the Lennys of the world and all these rock bands, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now it's kind of, I mean, maybe it's, I don't know. So I didn't watch the show. What else happened?
I only watched about an hour of it, the end of it, and nobody got slapped, so that was good news. And nobody got slapped. Actually, Trevor Noah said that. I caught the intro, and he I caught it like on the news, and he said he's like, we're gonna have a great time tonight. We're gonna sing. We're gonna dance. We're gonna keep people's names out of our mouths. So Trevor was funny, but yeah, no, there wasn't really a lot of rock outside of that in terms of performances that were happening. I did enjoy, you know, shout out to Andy, shout out to Andy the Guitar Geek. I did enjoy the Encanto songs that they did.
Okay, all right.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That was at the Oscars. That was not at the Grammys.
I was gonna say that's okay. That's the Grammys.
I'm such an idiot.
Jeez. Hey, listen, this is what happens when you record on a Friday
Exactly
night, not
right.
a
When you
Thursday
drink
night.
it,
we're totally like drinking.
You're drinking a
beforehand
Mexican
and-
meal. Anyway, well, let's just do an aside. If you guys as guitar dads and parents, if you didn't check out the live performances of the Encanto songs at the Oscars, go on YouTube and check them out. It was fun. It was a good time. Anyway, there was none of that at the Grammys, and the Grammys was more about the pop and the R&B stuff, and that was cool. But what I wanted to rant about a little bit on the Grammys, Dave, is, you know, the whole rock thing is completely, it's gone in the Grammys, but we can't, you know, this is the thing. This is where it's like old man shouts at cloud, right, Dave? Like, rock is not as mainstream popular as it used to be. We've talked about this all the time. Yes, we hope it does come back and become mainstream popular.
It kills me.
But we can't really be upset at the Grammys not featuring rock artists prominently the way that they feature Justin Bieber and, you know, her and Megan Thee Stallion or whoever the heck, the Horsemen, whoever the heck they are.
Who?
I don't know. Megan Thee Stallion, somebody the Horseman. I don't know. I don't know the names of these artists.
Wow.
The Headless Horseman. I don't know. Some guy that wears a marshmallow on his head. I don't know what the hell's going on.
What? I'm telling you, you're really pitching this thing to me.
And
Maybe
anyway,
I'll watch next year.
Anyway,
okay.
yeah, but it is, and the Foos were supposed to perform. You know, if we're honest, the Foos were supposed to perform. But I feel like the Foos have been the only rock act at the Grammys for years and years and years. So, I mean, what's your take on this, Dave?
I mean, maybe it's too soon to make this. Maybe I shouldn't make this joke, but sometimes I just can't help myself. But how poetic that the Foos are supposed to perform. And we're talking the Grammys and rock being dead for the Grammys, and Taylor Hawkins dies and kills the whole Foo Fighters performance, right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
I mean, that's very poetic.
No, you're right. It's a little
very poetic.
And like you would think that they would have replaced them with another rock act, like bring in the Chili's.
Oh, God.
You know, like
yeah.
do something. Bring in Wolf. Why they could have brought in Wolfgang and Mammoth to do a song. That would have been incredible. But you know,
I mean, he was there, right? He was nominated.
So this is the thing. This is the thing that most people don't know is all the rock categories are awarded in a different ceremony that's not televised. I don't even think it's recorded for you to see it.
These are like the technical awards of the Oscars, you know, like the
but they take up you're exactly right. It doesn't make any sense. They take up all this time at the Oscars to talk about hair and makeup and editing, and they don't take up time at the Grammys to talk about rock and roll. It's a little bit of a travesty, if we're honest. You know, even though I understand why they don't do it, it's still dumb that they don't do it.
It is dumb. Well, I mean, it's not dumb if you're all into ratings and you're who has the Grammys now? Is it CBS?
Oh, I forget.
No,
I forget. I don't even know.
But anyway, if you're CBS or NBC, whoever the hell is carrying the Grammys or is broadcasting the Grammys, you care about ratings. So you're producing the show based on capturing a massive audience, and if rock isn't going to do it for you, then you're not going to bring those acts in.
That's right. I mean, we just have to come to the realization, Dave, that it's just not going to happen, right? Like the same way that they've never featured jazz or Latin music or world music or all these different things. Like they're not going to feature rock and roll either, and we just have to come to terms with that.
That's a good point.
You know,
it's a good.
You know
point.
who won a Grammy is John Petrucci.
Yes,
did you see that? John Petrucci of Dream
yes.
Theater. Those of you who don't know who
Yes.
he is, and one of the most incredible guitarists ever. He actually won a Grammy. I think he's won Grammys in the past, but he actually won a Grammy this year, so that was kind of cool. But the rest of the rock categories were basically swept by the Foos, which is I think we expected. But
see, I think to go back to your earlier point about rock not becoming mainstream, I feel like, and I'm not saying they're purposely doing that, but if we want rock to come back into the mainstream, these award shows are going to be absolutely critical, because if they're not showing these bands, if they're not showing if they're not broadcasting these categories of rock categories and anything else that wasn't actually broadcast on this past week, then how is the usual mainstream audience who would watch this show, how are they going to become aware of these acts?
No, you're right. They're not really going to become aware of them. The best we can do is like we were talking about last week when we were talking about, is there going to be a rock band that rules or a rock artist that rules the world again and gets to really be in the mainstream again? It's just so hard to tell. I mean, I think it's yes, it's possible. I think it could happen. But I think it's going to be hard. There are guys out there playing guitar now, like Machine Gun Kelly he's got his big tour posters on on the big arenas, and he's got a guitar in his hand. I guess he's playing rock. Yeah. I guess he's playing rock and roll. I don't know what he's doing. It's not really appealing music to me, but at least it's guitar oriented, so that's cool.
We'll talk about Bruno.
Oh yeah, so Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno, but
so
there were guitars.
Serving you that one up right over the plate.
So there were guitars featured in the Grammys. Opening the show, Bruno Mars and Silk Sonic, which is him and the other dude that I forget his name, the drummer guy who's incredible. And by the way, like we love to talk about rock, but we don't only listen to rock. That Silk Sonic album is incredible. If you're into like old school kind of R&B. Check out that album. It's real good. Like it's just everything about it's amazingly well done. But they kicked off the show, and Bruno was playing this incredible looking custom shop Strat, and I'm like, whoa, like this is really cool. So guitar is still out there, and he wasn't the only artist playing. Chris Stapleton played. I don't think he was playing a Squire. I didn't catch his performance, but I didn't have one of those
Squire baritones.
I don't know if he was playing the Squire. We'd have to go to the tape on that, but he was a guitar guy. I think Brandi Carlile performed. She's always playing guitar. She's incredible.
Okay,
so it's not like guitar music is completely void from the Grammys. So we have to be happy with that as guitar dads.
Was Bruno actually playing?
He was. I felt like I could hear. I mean, Bruno's an amazing talent, dude. Like he can sing and play and do everything. Based on like how I saw him interact with the guitar. It really did look like he was looking down at the frets, making sure he was on the right spot. He was playing. It sounded like he was playing to me.
Okay.
So, Dave's like, I don't know. Dave's like, I don't buy this.
No, I believe it. I believe in art. Well, I mean, because this isn't like the Super Bowl halftime show. This isn't like a massive production that has to go off without a hitch.
It's the Grammys.
This is the Grammys, but it's more in line with a typical artist performance.
Yeah, it's a Grammys, and they do live music there. That's what the whole idea is, right? So it's real and it's there. So that's cool. And well, maybe not all the artists, but I like to believe that for Bruno and the boys it was. The other thing I wanted to bring up was oh no, I lost it now, Dave. Oh geez,
you lost it
at the Grammys. What was it? It's gone from my brain.
Oh man, what happened? See,
Friday night. We got to stick with our Thursday night.
This is the typical Guitar Dads podcast.
It's just completely off the rails. We're talking about Bruno. We're talking about the custom.
Were you going to
Strat.
talk about another artist that was performing?
No, I lost it. It's gone. My brain cells are gone.
A category?
My brain cells are gone for the week. Maybe I'll pick it up.
A brand new category, Guitar Dad of the Year?
No, that's the Daddies.
That's right. Check out our episode, The Daddies.
If you haven't seen our
very popular episode these days.
If you haven't seen our own award show called The Daddies that happens at the end of the year, go check that out. At the end of the calendar year, go check that out, and we will do another one. So I don't know, but that to wrap up the Grammys. Look, the guitar is alive and well. Rock is not alive and well so much on the Grammys, but the Lenny Kravitz thing. And by the way, Lenny Kravitz has not aged a day. He's unbelievable. The guy's he's like Ponce de Leon. He found the fountain of youth. I don't know. He's unbelievable. And that's the thing. Like, what's up with Lenny Kravitz, man? Like, give us some new material, dude. We got to do.
It's funny. I was thinking about him a couple months ago. I was for whatever reason he popped into my head. I'm like, you know what? I haven't listened to Lenny in a long time, and I started just listening to him again. And he has a number of new things since we were really into him. He's obviously put out a number.
Yeah,
of
he
new
has.
Things,
yes,
but nothing like nothing like his old stuff. Some of his older stuff is just absolutely killer
he's
stuff.
Just amazing. He's so good. But you know what, Dave? I think you're right. I need to probably spend some time and go listen to more of Lenny's latest stuff because he's just so great. So I'm glad that they gave him a nod at the Grammys. Speaking of getting a nod, let's talk about what's going on in the gear world. We haven't really spent a lot of time on gear lately. I guess we did in the last episode. We kind of got deep into Dirty Honey and Mammoth's gear. But there's a cool thing that has happened that I wanted to bring up in the gear world, and that is that Gibson has released the Adam Jones signature Les Paul, which was originally released a couple years ago as a custom shop, silver burst custom shop Les Paul for $10,000, and it was a limited run, and they sold out like immediately. And what
pocket change?
What Gibson has done is now they have released a Gibson USA kind of production version of this guitar, which is really kind of cool to see that's what they're doing. And it's basically like $3,000, right? Again, not cheap, but for an artist kind of signature guitar is cheap, right? Not cheap, but is a good price.
It's a good price.
It's accessible.
Now,
it's accessible to average people. Like $10K is not really accessible, if we're honest.
No,
it's just not.
But still, now Silver Burst is one of your favorite, if not your favorite.
I don't own one
on a Les Paul, right? And you
I don't own one. I know. You know what?
Are we going here?
And this
Are we gonna go there?
And this is the other thing. The Adam Jones signature Les Paul, when it came out, ever since that has come out, like old school silver burst Les Pauls, like from the 80s and even in the 90s, like custom shops are like going for big bucks. Like they used to go for like, you could buy an old custom shop silver burst because they weren't the most kind of desirable color. You could buy an old one for like $3,500, maybe $3,000 if you're getting a good deal. And now they're like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, and it's like, this is insane. Like, this is a Gibson custom Les Paul. They're going for more than like the Black Beauties and other finishes and stuff. It's completely insane, and so it's hard to come by these silver bursts. So that's why I think it's amazing that Gibson's actually coming out with a production Gibson USA line of this signature, and it begs the question. Are they going to do this for other artists guitars? We all know they do it for Slash, and there's like 20 Slash Gibson USA signatures now, and they keep coming. But are they going to do it like the one that I would really like to see as a Gibson USA signature is the Jerry Cantrell, that wine red one?
Yeah. The wine. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and we've talked about this the whole rebranding of Gibson as a whole, we've talked a lot about it, and I think, to answer your question, I think this just falls right in line with their whole rebrand. I can totally see them putting out more, production models of signature guitars of some of these artists.
I hope they do.
Totally.
I hope they do, and I hope it. Look, we all know that on the Guitar Dads we love Slash, especially me. But, Slash doesn't really need another signature guitar, if we're honest. So, like...
No, but you do.
Yeah, maybe I do. But, like, let's see some of these other artists' signature guitars come up. I mean, there's been a string of, like, incredible custom shop artist guitars that are, like, just mega bucks. Like, Joe Perry had a bunch of them.
Yes.
Who else had an incredible one that I really like? Oh, Vivian Campbell had a really cool one. He actually did.
Vivian Campbell, yes.
He actually did release that as an Epiphone, which I thought was cool.
He did release it as an Epiphone.
And maybe our buddy Joe Bonamassa would do a Gibson one and not just an Epiphone one. That would be very cool, too.
Oh, man, if Joe Perry did, I would totally.
Yeah,
I would have to have the conversation with the wife, and we would have to go there.
Dave would take out a second mortgage on his
that
house.
would almost be like a collector's thing for me, because I'm so obsessed with Aerosmith that I think I would have to do that.
Yeah, Dave, I think you need to be lobbying Mark Agnesi and Cesar to get you to put out a Joe.
You think so?
To put out a Joe Perry signature. Yes.
All right, I'm on it.
I think it needs to happen, dude. I think it needs to happen. But
now, what would they see? Would they put out like the one with like his wife, with Billy, his wife, like painted on the
like the 335 guitar? No, but one of his Les Pauls would be awesome. right?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that is one of his Les Pauls. He has his wife.
I thought that was like a
painted on the thing.
335. Oh, is it?
No, I don't think
geez.
that. I think it's a Les Paul. Yeah,
Shows what I know about Joe Perry guitars. Anyway, but yeah,
I think it's a Les Paul. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know if it is or if it isn't, but that's cool. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was a cool kind of development in the gear world. There's other gear news that is less exciting. Dave, do you have any new gear news? What are you up to over there? Anything new in your gear life?
I got nothing new in the gear life.
How is that possible?
I posted in our Facebook group. Find us at Guitar Dads Podcast on Facebook.
Yes.
And check us out. But I posted those new Harley Benton, like what were they called?
Oh, yes.
MC, like something. Those were kind of. I agree with you because you replied.
I just said weird.
I agree. They are very weird. Very weird.
Harley Benton though is good. I have a friend in town here, Eric. Eric, if you're listening, shout out to you. That's recently got obsessed with Harley Bentons. And they are Harley Bentons. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Harley Bentons, one, you've been living under a rock. And two, you should go check them out because they're like, for people that don't understand what Harley Benton is, it is a house brand for the Thomann music store, which is out of Germany. They're basically like the Guitar Center.
They're like the Guitar
of
Center
Germany,
of
and essentially of Europe, because everybody from Europe actually buys from them because they're almost like a Sweetwater of Europe is probably more appropriate.
Yeah,
because they only have like the one huge store, and then it's like a mail order thing. But this is like their house brand, and they make these really affordable, incredible guitars under this name, Harley Benton. And they're really good, and you should check them out, man. You know what what I came across, and I think this is a guy that we should get on the pod, Dave. Do you ever come across Agafish on YouTube? Do you know him?
Who?
Agafish?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, Agafish. Oh, he's
this.
awesome. He's like a metal guy on YouTube, but he's awesome, and he does purely like guitar reviews, and he does a great in detail reviews of guitars, and he actually has a partnership with Harley Benton where he has some signature Harley Bentons, and he has one. It's a Les Paul that he has that they are. I think they're a little more expensive. I think they're in the $500 range, whereas usually these are like Epiphone quality guitars that are in the $200 range, $200 to $300 range.
If that. Some of them are.
Well, the prices have gone
even
up
less.
with inflation and everything.
The price have gone up a little bit, but they haven't gone up.
No,
they
haven't gone up that much, and so they're a hell of a value. But he's got ones that are like a little bit higher spec, but they got like flame maple necks and more specced out pickups and different cool finishes and locking tuners and stuff like that. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of value that can be had there with Harley Benton. So go check that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Check out Harley Benton.
And check out the Facebook group, right, Dave?
Yeah. Come hang out with us on Facebook. We're welcome. We welcome everybody. I don't think that we don't have any questions that you got. All those crazy questions you got to answer when you come into Facebook groups and all these like do you agree with all the group rules? Well, no, I don't. I'm just gonna come into the group and just wreak havoc.
This is Guitar Dad world. Like there's no rules. But if you come into our group and act like a jerk, then you're gonna get kicked out. but so far that hasn't happened.
Actually, sometimes, depending on the day, if you come in and act like a jerk, we might feature.
Yeah, we might like it. We might might pin one of your posts.
It depends on what you're being a jerk about.
We might pin one of your posts. So, come on, say hi.
That's right.
And we'll have some good times at Guitar Dad Land. So, anyway, Dave, is that it?
Yeah, that was a good one. Good Friday night pod with the two guys. I think maybe this could be an ongoing thing.
Yes.
Where we relax a little bit on a Friday night and chill out and have a little bit of a different kind of pod. But that was fun.
Yeah.
Fun and exciting.
I think it was.
So make sure you check us out at Guitar Dads Pod on Instagram. Come to the Facebook group at Guitar Dads Podcast. Check us out on YouTube. Search Guitar Dads. Find us on Twitter at Guitar Dads Pod. What else we got? I think that was this week's Guitar Dads podcast.
That's it. Keep rock alive. Catch you guys on the flip.